Today I'm teaching you how to master Simplifies Glycerin soap base so you can get this glass-like finish. I'm going to show you how to do 3 different designs, but first you've got to master the melts. Glycerin soap can be tricky to get that beautiful clear glass top look, and you need your secret weapon, rubbing alcohol. I've got mine in a little spray bottle here that I'm going to use to pop little bubbles that form on the soap. We'll want to keep this nearby. Next, preparation is clear. You don't want to melt a big block of soap at once. You'll notice that the glycerin soap at first looks opaque and cloudy, but it's going to melt to be this beautiful clear glass-like soap. First, cut your soap block up into 1-inch cubes. This is going to help our soap melt evenly. To melt your soap and keep clarity, you want to melt it as slowly and as gently as possible. You can do this in a microwave using 15 to 30 second intervals, gently stirring between each interval, or in a double boiler like this, which is the safest option to get the most clarity. A double boiler is simply a pot within a pot. I have 2 pots here with a little bit of water in there that's heating up that's going to gently melt our soap. You can also use a glass measuring cup inside your pot instead of a 2-pot method. A simple way to make a double boiler is to grab a glass measuring cup and set it in a pot with 1 inch or 2 of water at the bottom and melt it that way. If you don't have a double boiler, you don't have to buy one. You can just use that glass measuring cup. The golden rules in melting your soap base is to make sure you don't boil it. If your soap starts to bubble, it's going to become cloudy and the texture can become rubbery. We don't want any bubbles to form in our melting soap. Once your soap is melted, remove it from the heat, and you'll notice as it sits, a skin is going to form on top. To keep our soap super clear, we don't want that going into our soap, so you can just peel it off with your spatula or spoon before pouring your soap. For our first design, we are going to make soap that looks like stained glass. To make this, I'm going to pour a little bit of soap into this container and tint it blue with a little bit of mica powder. I'm only going to use a little bit of mica powder because I want this to look like stained glass. I want to be able to see through the blue soap. If you add too much mica powder, it's going to become opaque. Mica powder has a tendency to clump when you add it to your soap. You stir it until it's evenly distributed. You can also spritz your mica powder with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and that breaks up those clumps and makes it really easy to stir it. So here's the color we're going for. It kind of reminds me of water, really pretty and clear looking. You can do a lot of really fun soap designs with this that look like water. I have a Fresh Coast soap recipe that is inspired by the ocean or Lake Michigan. Or I've seen people make soap like this and then add little goldfish to it, so it looks like a little goldfish or fish is inside your soap bar. So once your mica powder is evenly distributed throughout your soap, you're going to pour it into your molds. To create a beautiful, professional looking soap, we are going to spritz it with our secret weapon, perfumer's alcohol. That's gonna disrupt the surface tension on all the bubbles so that they pop, so we get that beautiful clear soap. For design number 2, we are going to swirl our soap, and there's a lot of different ways to swirl soap. I'm just gonna show you one way, a temperature technique. So what I'm going to do is pour a little bit of my soap base into this pitcher. And I'm going to color this one white, and I'm actually going to use quite a bit of mica powder this time because I want this to be opaque. I'm going to stir that in. I'm going to spritz it with alcohol to help break up those clumps of mica powder. And now I'm going to pour it into the base of my mold. I'm going to spritz it with alcohol, pop those bubbles, and I'm going to let this cool just a little bit until it forms a skin on the top of this soap that's in the molds. Once that skin forms, I'm going to disrupt it with a new layer of soap that we are going to color blue. And if at any time while you're making melt and pour soap, if it starts to solidify, you can place it back on the heat to remelt it. For our second swirl color, I'm going to use a little bit of that blue again, and it's going to become a really pretty Arctic wintry swirl. So now I'm going to test my white soap to see if a skin has formed on it by gently touching it with my finger. And there's just a slight skin there. So I'm going to pour this blue soap onto it now to create a swirl. Because I didn't wait for our white soap layer to completely solidify, this blue layer broke in to create a really pretty swirl that I can't wait to see. I'm gonna finish it off with rubbing alcohol to get rid of those little bubbles that form on top. For our final design, we are making an embed soap. I've made some soap embeds using Simply Earth's Shea Butter Melt and Pour soap. Poured it into this mold to create some cute little snowflakes that we're going to use. Our glycerin soap is going to create a glass top effect that looks so cool. For this recipe, I'm going to first pour a small blue layer of soap. This is going to create contrast in our soap design, making it easier to see our snowflakes. It's also going to create a really cool blue layer in our soap. My soap is starting to set a little bit too much, so I'm going to put it in this warm water to melt it again. I'm going to pour this blue layer for our base. Spritz it with alcohol, and then I'm going to add our snowflakes. Once this blue layer has set, but you still want it to be warm, spritz it with alcohol, and then pour your melted glycerin soap base on top. Make sure that this isn't too hot. You want it to be around 130 degrees Fahrenheit so it doesn't melt this layer beneath. Now we just wait for our soap to set. I've let our soaps cool, and here comes the satisfying part. So first, our stained glass window soap. The soap is translucent with a beautiful blue hue. Here is our swirled soap. Just a little bit of the blue broke through on the bottom. Kind of reminds me of ice. And here is our glass-cased snowflakes. We've got this layer of blue soap, then our clear glycerin soap, and the snowflakes look like they're trapped inside. If you're ready to create some super fun designs like these using glycerin soap, check out my link below. It's so much fun to work with, and I can't wait to see your creations. I'll see you in the next video.